Okay, welcome back. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. We'll go through the broad markets, look at some individual trade ideas, look at gold, and go ahead and wrap up. So, been a couple days since I put out a video. Again, we're in kind of holiday trading right now, with the 4th next week, and a lot of people are taking vacation off, so relatively kind of just a choppy week. We'll look at the triple Qs today. Again, the big thing, they bought the dip, obviously gapping up this morning on a lower than, I don't know if it was lower than expected, but we had a lower inflation reading and gapping up. Nothing's really changed. I mean, in general, still in an uptrend on triple Qs. Resistance, if I go back and look at the daily chart here, resistance, these two former highs right there, 1, 2, is still about 371.48, and we did get a reaction there, a third reaction to validate that. So at this point, a breakout above that key level of resistance should set triple Qs up for all-time highs, and that's really what I would say is, you've got the all-time highs up here. You break above that level of resistance, you don't have much in the way of resistance until the all-time highs. So that's it. Break above that, bullish, probably going to go to the all-time highs. Otherwise, we're still below resistance, and that is it right here. If I look at the hourly chart, see if there's anything kind of interesting there. Not a whole lot. I mean, the divergences are still intact back here on the daily. The negative divergences were just kind of popping around this resistance level, not moving down, not moving up. So we'll see what next week brings. Likely they're going to close this thing, around current levels. It's really been trading, kind of gapped up, and then it's just been trading sideways all day. So that's really all I see on that. The bigger picture for me at this point with triple Qs and tech is Apple. All right, when I look at Apple, here's the bearish rising wedge pattern on the daily. All right, and today gapping it up. All right, breaking to the upside of this bearish rising wedge pattern. Now that can happen. I mean, obviously we had no sell signal, so the sell signal I was continuing to look for on Apple was a breakdown below support, breaking down, this wedge down. But sometimes you'll see a move up, they'll clear a bunch of stops and then break down. So maybe that's what's in the cards. As of right now, it's breaking to the upside, so I would say that that's probably what's going to continue to do, is maybe spike up and then break down. Until we see a sell signal, there's no short there. And triple Qs is going to have a hard time going lower. It's just not going to go much lower until you get the sell signal in Apple, because Apple makes up, it's the heaviest weighted stock in the triple Qs as well as really the broad market. So you need to see this one break down and trigger a sell signal for any kind of sustainable breakdown in tech. And until then, it's continuing higher. Still have negative divergence on the daily chart on Apple. It's just, we're diverging higher. So doesn't mean this is going to continue higher. One thing that a lot of people get caught up in is just because this stock has done this does not mean that this breakout here with negative divergence that it's going to continue to go and do that again. Oftentimes it tells you that we're at or near the top before we get some sort of a correction or reverse in trend. But again, negative divergence is not a sell signal. You need to see that breakdown of support, all right? And we don't have that yet, and we have not had that. So that's been critical for me to look for. I've taken little shots here and there, active trading stuff, relatively light this week. I'm keeping trading light this week with the vacation, with the holiday coming up, and then no sell signal on Apple. When I see that, and we'll look around the charts, and maybe we'll have a broader read on the next move, but we don't have anything yet. Here's Meta. All right, so if I look at the daily, you can see this you can see this bearish rising wedge here, and I've got it kind of marked out. There's the lows, there's a reaction, there's another one, several reactions right in here. And as I zoom in on the daily chart, we got our first daily close yesterday below that wedge. So that is actually a sell signal with the breakdown. Usually you want to see confirming price action, more selling. You don't have to get that. And with today being Friday and they're into the holiday, they're kind of floating the market. It makes sense. You can see today though they're back testing that that trend line right there. So if I go down to the hourly, it's a little more obvious. There it is. So you can see, I mean, as I roll out on this hourly chart, we have this consistent support line on the hourly, and then it did break once, little breakdown. They gapped it up, and now it broke again. They're gapping it up, but it's still below the trend line. So we'll see where this closes out, but ultimately still below, and that we seem to be kind of running into resistance and then getting rejected. So I suspect this will kind of float sideways. We're not going to get a definitive breakdown. And at this point, what I told everyone in the private member group is, because Apple has no sell signal, this isn't going to go down too much until Apple triggers that sell signal either. So I'd really be looking to take out these lows right here. You take out the lows, and that's probably your next sell signal on Meta. And then you'd want to look across the board and see what Apple's doing. What are the other FANGs doing? You know, if everything's kind of breaking down and Meta's breaking down, it'll help firm that trade up. So as of right now, this one is on a sell signal, although it's not, you know, we need to see those other things break down and then take out the lows. Tesla. So Tesla, I got out of that short a couple days ago. You know, small profit on it, nothing crazy. But then you do have this downtrend line here on the daily chart on Tesla, and we still hadn't hit it. So I kind of figure we're going to run up and hit that right up in there, like right there. And again, that was one of the reasons why I got out of the short. I didn't see enough information in the charts to tell me to stay short. So I figure we'll hit that before we get a meaningful pullback, probably back down to the support line down there. So that is it on Tesla. And then also Tesla, you know, it did have divergence. It's not super clean on the PPO, and it's not really there on the RSI. So again, yeah, I could see us running up and hitting that downtrend line resistance. Wheat. Okay, wheat futures. So support on wheat, you have good support right in here, okay? Lots of reactions right through there. We're slicing through that right now. Could be a stop rate. The other thing is you do have the bearish or the bullish falling wedge pattern here. All right, we broke out, and it looks like it's coming in for a back test. So we are near support. We could go down a little lower and hit that trend line just below for kind of a perfect test of that, something like that, and then rally. But again, this is support right in here and just support right underneath. So from my perspective, it makes sense to stay long, potentially, you know, start building a long position. If you're not, add to a position, in my opinion. And, you know, so again, you buy at support. All right, it's below now. You could buy down here at the trend line. That would be another level. Anything below that, you don't want to buy. All right, you want to look for areas to stop out below that. So again, could go down, and then we probably will continue to rally. All right, I do believe this big bullish falling wedge pattern has now been, we have a confirmed breakout. There's your breakout. We're getting that first kind of check move where it comes in and corrects. But ultimately, this downward trend, I believe, has changed to an upward trend. So you rally up, you pull back, you hit support, and then you continue to rally. So over the weeks to months, basically, I do believe wheat will continue to trend higher. So I still like that as a long trade, and I kind of pointed out those key support levels. And really, you just want to look at the futures. That's the most important. The wheat ETN, you know, if you're trading it, that's fine, but use the futures as your chart, as your signal. Wheat ETN, you can see they're selling it down today. Could come down a little lower, but again, the futures will tell you when, when it's at support, and that's what I would use. Gold. Here's gold miners. I can't completely make a strong case on gold. There's a couple mining stocks that have relatively decent bullish setups. I don't see it across the board. Here's GDX, the mining ETF. Again, this trend line support here, you can see support, a couple reactions. We only really have two, little third right there. And then we did break down below the 200, but it's, what I said is I don't like the breakdown, but if it can recover that trend line, that would be a false breakdown. And, as of right now, if I zoom in on the daily, you can see we're starting to show some bullish divergence here on the daily. So basically a breakdown with bullish divergence. And if we recover then that would be bullish. One thing I want to look for is a crossover. Here's the PPO. You want to see a bullish crossover to help confirm that bullish divergence. And then you'd want to see this recover that trend line. And that would likely be the buy signal that this was a false breakdown and we're going to continue this trend up. All right, which means that it's likely going to, go on to make a new high above these former highs right here. So that's what I'm looking for on that one. When I scan across all the miners, I don't see the same setup. This one's kind of interesting. AG, this is a silver miner. On this one, you've got, you can see here, basically bullish divergence here, all right, on the daily, on both momentum. You have a bullish falling wedge. Oh, let me grab the right tool. You have a bullish falling wedge here, and you have a breakout right there. So that's a buy signal. I don't see it across the board in all the silver miners, and I don't see it in all the gold miners, but I see it in this one. So that's a buy signal. It looks bullish, like this is going to continue higher. When I look at gold futures, I don't get, the thing that I don't like, I don't have bullish divergence on the gold futures. We are kind of at support right here, but I just don't have the same setup there. So, I'm going to probably pass on going long on some of these miners, even though they do have bullish setups, just because I just don't see it enough, broad across the board in gold or all the miners. So someone asked me about oil. This is oil futures, CL, and I've got pretty decent support right down around the 67, 66 area. If I roll out, you can see on this daily chart, that was former resistance, kind of support through here, support through there, support, multiple reactions there. So we can chop through it a little bit, but ultimately it looks like decent support. We do have bullish divergence that's been building now on this chart. So each little spike low has been a divergent low. So ultimately it looks like it's about to break out. I don't have a clean downtrend line. If I make, kind of draw that out, I only have 2 reactions. So I think we got to put in a 3rd reaction. And then ultimately you look for a buy signal on a definitive break of the trend line. Again, this is not a valid trend line because I only have 2 reactions. I need a 3rd reaction minimum. And then I would need to see a breakout to the upside for the buy signal. So a little more work to do on it. It's starting to shape up, but not a, only a setup at this point. This one's interesting. JP Morgan, nice clean trend line on the daily chart. Support, 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 support. And you can see in the last 2 days, they held that support line. They're running it up. So again, this is trading, there's your upward trend line. It's holding support, no sell signals. You do have some negative divergence that's been building on this one for a while. So ultimately, I think we're going to break to the downside, but obviously not this week. So look for that. You need a definitive breakdown. Otherwise, it's holding support and can continue to rally. Philip Morris, kind of a steady Eddie dividend payer, but interesting chart here. And what I've got on the daily chart here. So here is your COVID lows basically right there. And I've got an uptrend line on this one now. You can see reaction cluster there, that support, hit it again, kind of held it a 3rd time, and it did break down, but that breakdown came with bullish divergence. All right, that was a divergent low. And then it was a false breakdown. Boom, recovered the trend line and rallying. So to me, that looks like a bear trap, and it should go on to make kind of new highs, or at least another leg up. I do see it probably heading up to this 106 or and possibly going to break out to make new highs. It's hard to say, but so that's what you look for. It's really about this false breakdown with the bullish divergence, and the recovery signals a bear trap, and then so maybe that's what we'll get on some of those gold stocks and the GDX. That's really all I have. It's Friday, right into a holiday week next week. I believe Monday is a half day, and then Tuesday there's no trading. So a lot of people are going to take the whole week off, or at least a big chunk of it. So relatively light trading. We'll, I'll do the live stream tomorrow, and then going to probably just going to not, take the next 2 days off because there won't be much to cover. So thanks, guys. Drop me a thumbs up on your way out. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.